What's up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. In today's video, we're going to be doing an early access review of Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist is an action RPG Metroidvania that is heavily focused on combat, and it's a very pretty and great game that has awesome atmosphere, and I definitely want to share it with you all today. Now, I do want to say it is an early access title, and it's not 100% complete. I would say it took me about 2 hours to beat the early access content, but the rest of the game is releasing later in 2024. So if you enjoy what you see in this video, then I would definitely recommend checking out this title. So in Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist, you play as the Lilac. She is the little girl. She doesn't know where she is, what she's trying to do, but she's an attuner, and attuners are people who control homunculus in this universe, and her main mission at the moment, at least in the early access section, is to collect homunculus, grow her allies, and try to save the world from evil mutants and whatever else is causing these homunculus to go crazy. So Lilac can't do anything by herself. She can run, she can dash, she can double jump, she can dodge, she can air dash, which is cool. And yes, you do get the double jump and the air dash within about the first 30 minutes of the game. So she does have some good movement options, but she can't do any combat things by herself. So how to do combat in this game? You got to get some homunculus. Now, homunculus are very similar to like JoJo stands, personas, Pokemon, whatever. The monster that you control that does a certain move, and that's how you do combat. Now, something cool is the homunculus cannot actually take damage themselves. Only if Lilac gets hit, that's how you get damage. So you don't have to worry about, throwing out your homunculus. You just throw them out, they'll do damage. And you do fully control them. The first one you get does a basic slash attack, and I put mine to square, so I just like smash square button, does a basic combo, does decent damage overall. But you get more and more homunculus, and you assign them to other buttons. So the first boss you beat actually gives you your second homunculus power, and this is going to be like this charged up Falcon Punch type of move. And it's pretty good, but it has a cooldown, so you got to be careful when you use it. So your first attack, you can just spam slash, but the second one, you can probably use it about every 5 seconds. And the cool thing is you can use both of these moves at the exact same time because they're individual homunculus that you're controlling. So it does add additional combat depth and juggling to the combat system, which I think is really cool. And if you use your homunculus correctly, it's going to make most of the enemies very easy, except for the boss fights, which I do think the boss fights are actually a bit challenging, which I think is really rewarding for this type of game when it does focus on the action. The early access currently has 3 homunculus you can use in combat, and you get multiple moves for each one. So as an example, you can upgrade them by defeating certain bosses throughout this game. And like the first homunculus had that basic sword attack that can actually become a heavy axe as your basic attack. It's very slow, but it does more damage, more stagger damage as well. So it's very good for like boss fights or slow enemies in my opinion. But of course, you can always change them whenever you want at a bench. Now, when you go to benches, they heal up all your HP, they refill your HP vials, but of course, if you do that, all the enemies do come back. So it's sort of like a Dark Souls system. Like, yes, I can fill up my flask, but all the enemies will come back. But you can also upgrade your homunculus. You can put on equipment, you can put on accessories, which augment your attacks, like do more damage, or lower cooldowns and things like that too. You can also save your game there, watch cutscenes and a bunch of stuff. So it's sort of like your big menu area at the benches, and you can actually talk to your homunculus because they have their own character as well, which I do think is pretty cool. Now, like I said, you want to combo your homunculus in combat. It has a lot of depth, and you're going to definitely want to do those types of things in boss fights because boss fights can definitely be troublesome. There are bosses that have multiple phases, and you definitely got to be watching on your cooldowns and making sure you do the right combos into different things. Now, the big thing about combat is just because they have a life bar doesn't mean that's your big focus. They have a stagger bar, and if you fill up that meter, they'll get staggered, and they can't do any moves after that. You have about like 5 seconds of doing whatever you want for free against them. So every enemy has this meter, so sometimes it's better to do light damaging attacks that further increase that bar than big heavy attacks that do more damage. So there is a balance in the combat system there. Now, speaking about the world, the story is very interesting. I think it's very cool. It's very like atmospheric, it's sort of like daunting at times and slightly scary, like what's happening in this universe. I mean, there's just monsters roaming around everywhere. It looks like humanity's sort of on its last legs, especially where you take place. And you know, homunculus, these creatures that you are controlling, are turning into this mutant, which is the most normal enemy you're going to be fighting at the moment. I'm sure there'll be more enemies, but right now mutants is the big enemy of discussion here. And the music is very reminiscent to something like a Nier. It's just very ominous, but it also can, you know, change the atmosphere of the game in general. There is a bunch of different backgrounds that I've seen, and I think the art style is definitely on point in this game. And I absolutely just love the universe that they're building here. This is a sequel, so if you did play the first game, then it's definitely, you know, gonna have some callbacks to that first game and some of the lore going on. But if you're like me, who never played the first game, I thought this game was easy to get into, understand what was going on in the story in general, and I just thought it was just a general great time. Now, it is a Metroidvania, so there is, in a sense, of discovery. You do want to jump around the map and explore, and you'll find secrets. You'll find like upgrade materials or even secret bosses, and even lore items like notes. And there is a decent amount of notes to read. None of the notes I felt like were too long, which is really nice because I don't want to spend my time reading too long. But they're like nice short snippets of like what is happening in this location, why things are happening. And it just gives you just basic background lore to this universe, but also, you know, why is Lilac doing anything that she's doing? Even the homunculus don't remember anything. They lost their memories as well. So your homunculus on your team are also trying to remember why they are like this in this current situation. And slowly but surely, you defeat bosses, you get more memories back, and you're slowly discovering the story of this universe. But overall, I gotta say that this game, Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, is pretty great. Definitely love this game so far. I just love the combat, love how it looks, love the music, and I think the difficulty is in a good spot right now. I do think basic enemies might be a little bit too easy, but boss fights are definitely in a situation where you get hit 3 times, you'll die. So I'm definitely more on the fence of harder combat is going to be more fun when the exploration isn't as, you know, as in-depth as some of other games within genre. And I do think the cutscenes are pretty good as well, but none of the cutscenes are voiced at the moment. Not sure if this is going to be upgraded in the early access, but we'll see when it fully releases later in 2024. But there you have it, guys. That is my review of Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great game so far, but if you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to just play 2 hours, I would probably recommend waiting on picking up this game, but definitely get a wish list on this on your Steam account if what I said was good. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys later, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and catch you guys next time. Peace out, and have a good one.